Good evening, everybody. Just wanted to do a quick stream because I won't have the time to properly delve into the markets. My computer is, laptop, I should say, is again messing up. Just so you know, it just won't turn on. I've been charging it. Oops. I've been charging it, and it's just not turning on. So while that's still doing its thing, I just wanted to come up here and speak. So today was bank holiday, which means that trading activity, liquidity-wise, was lower than normal. That essentially means that there wasn't as much opportunities for price to create opportunities that we would like to see. So following last week, whenever you make like a loss or a big mistake in trading, you want to stay away from the markets to the best of your ability until you develop the skill sets of returning back to the markets. I was thinking earlier about how does somebody know when to come back to the market. And it was because I was watching a video and the man in the video said, how do you recover from a losing trade? And his question was almost good, because you never recover from a losing trade. When you have a business and you spend money, you invest maybe in equipment, maybe in marketing or staff, what do you see that as? The cost of doing business. So you expending money, investing money, wasn't you losing money. It wasn't a bad thing. It was a good thing because there was a purpose behind it. And so losing money in business isn't always a bad thing if it's an expense that produces fruit. So my point is this, that as traders, our life is a business. Trading is a business. And every time you make a loss, it doesn't automatically mean you're a loser. It just means you lost a trade. And you can get to the place where every losing trade you take is the cost of doing business. Because there is nobody that I know of under the sun that has a 100% success rate in terms of every trade they take, every decision they make yields profit in the markets. So that means that it is possible for even the best of traders to have a losing trade. So then how do you turn a losing trade into a winning trade? You first redefine what losing means. Losing a trade is not a losing day. A losing day is where you disobey your instructions, disobey your rule sets, disobey your guidelines that you put in place so that you can actually trade the market. So if somebody has a plan on, I want to trade this way, I want to do this, when price does this, I get in, that is a losing trade if you disobey that. So how to recover from losing trade? You redefine what losing trade is. A losing trade isn't when you lose money, it is when you lose control of your emotions. Kelly Meehan says, hi, hello, hello. No Mercy says, whatever he says, shout out to whoever that is. So a losing trade we just established is not a losing day. A losing trade is when you lose control. Lose control over your emotions is the definition of a losing trade. I like and subscribe. Thank you. Appreciate you, my guy. So normally we're not like this, by the way, just for reference. We're normally studying the markets. You won't really be seeing my face, that's the truth. But I said earlier in the stream that my laptop is dead, so we have to kind of stream like this, and it's just not charging. You're right, you're doing good. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm very tired. It's almost midnight, and I want to sleep. My bed's right there, so I'm very tired. But we're talking about what is a losing trade. We're talking about how a losing trade, how we can recover from losing trade. So this is for traders that enter the markets, they lose a trade, and how do you recover from it? And we're establishing that the first thing you should do is to redefine what a losing trade is. A losing trade is not when you lose money. A losing trade is when you lose control. Because losing money is not a bad thing, like we established. If you have a business and you spend money on staff, you spend money on equipment, you wouldn't see that as a loss. You wouldn't start going into a spiral. You wouldn't start throwing a fit, a tantrum. Why? Because it's the cost of doing business. So that means that as traders, when umbrella of it's the cost of doing business. The problem, like I said, is not when you lose the trade, it's when you lose control. Because when you lose a trade, what ends up happening is that you get emotional. You want a revenge trade. You want to quickly earn your money back. So being led by your emotions, losing control of your emotions is where you actually have a losing trade or a losing idea or a losing day. right? A losing day is when you lose control. So that means that we need to have full control of our emotions. And I could go into greater detail, but I wanted to keep the stream very short. So we're going to just summarize and I'm going to call it a day so that I can then prepare for tomorrow, making sure that tomorrow we have our normal setup. So establishing for those that come in, we are saying that losing trade. So let me explain actually where I even got this from. I was watching a video and the person said, how do you recover from a losing trade? Amir says, you good, man? Yeah, I'm good. I'm just tired, but I'm good. Thank you very much for asking. Hope you're good as well. You can actually tell I'm tired by my voice and my English isn't really Englishing, but I'm doing well. I hope you're doing good too. So the video I was watching, it was a man who was asking, how do you recover from losing trade? And it got me thinking, how do you recover from losing trade? I used to think that it was, you recover from losing trade by getting back into the markets. I used to think it was, you get recovered by losing trade from taking a break. And that is a way as well. Now that I touched upon it, I'll go into a bit more detail. 2 ways to turn a losing trade into a winning trade is to fully master your emotions and to take a break. And basically they're saying the same thing. Taking a break is what you do as for the purpose of controlling your emotions. If you get angry, let me give you an example. If I go into my house, I go to the kitchen, I see someone that's eating something I put in the fridge, I'm not going to feel happy, am I? So normally I'll get upset. So I may go and confront the person and say, hey, did you eat my food? They may say, oh yes, sir, I got hungry. An angry person would react, they will throw a tantrum, they will argue, whatever it is. But what I would personally do is walk away. Not that I'm happy, but if I stay in that place, knowing that that person ate my food or ate what I saved, because remember, I'm looking forward to this when I go to work or when I'm busy and I have a time and I'm ready to eat now. And I'm like, oh my gosh, now it's time I can eat what I was saving. I go to the fridge, it's not there anymore. I'm going to be upset. But the best thing to do is to walk away from the situation that's making you upset. So as traders, we can also apply that to our lives where if the marketplace isn't making us happy, which is most of the time, we didn't win a trade, we didn't make money, we lost money, or we didn't have any setups. We walk away from that situation because as a trader, you have 3 jobs, almost 4. 1, to enter the markets and become profitable. You want to be consistently profitable. That's your first job. That should be the highest level job you should ever have. How do I become profitable? How to do that? You need to find a trading plan and you need to have a good control of your emotions and psychology. So those are the 2 ways you can enter the markets and become profitable. It's by having a plan that works and also becoming a person that is immune to emotions. You need to be neutral at all times. When you make money and lose money, you need to be neutral. Second job is to reduce losses. A lot of people don't know how to reduce losses. They can make profit, and the thing that's keeping them from becoming consistently profitable is that consistency in reducing losses. They can be on a win streak for a month. They lose 1 trade, they lose another trade, they lose another trade, and it spirals out of control. That's why I'm talking about how to stop that losing cycle. It is all in the mental, it's all in the mind, it's all in the thinking, it's all in the place of your controlling of emotions. That's where that damage is dealt, or the way that damage is subsidized. So your first job, is to enter the markets, become consistently profitable. Second job is to reduce losses. You reduce it by stepping away from the markets, by what we talked about earlier in this video, in this stream, is to control your emotions. Fourth job, that's the 4, 2, or 3. Oh yeah, second job, reduce emotions. Third job is to maximize your profits. What that means is, again, control your emotions. Why? Because when you get too greedy, you may not have the correct place to come out of the market. Because one of the things I did last week as a mistake I made is that I had a target and I held below or above my target, so further than my target. I had an area I wanted the price to get to, got to that place, but I was like, if it can get to here, it can get to here. It didn't get to that second point, and price reversed, and news was coming. So I did have, it wasn't all that bad because I was anticipating the release of news. So that was why I held for the burst of news. But I had to understand, I accept that it was a 50-50, that I didn't have control over that trade anymore. So my point in how to maximize trades, you need to have control of your emotions still. Control of your emotions is something you need, even when you're winning, even when you're up, even when you're happy. And the second thing to help maximize your profits is to set targets beforehand. When the market is moving and you're moving with the markets, your profit is moving, your stop loss is moving, there's a lack of clarity. And when you have a lack of clarity, anything can happen. It's like waking up in the morning and not knowing what you're going to do today. As terrible as that is, it also can be looked at as powerful, because it means that you could go on a holiday because you don't have anything planned, or it means you can go for a walk, you don't have anything planned. Anything can happen in that day, but at the same time, you could also do nothing because you have nothing that planned that day. So you need to be clear in your life, but you also need to be clear in the trade, and likewise in trading. So to be clear, set your targets before you enter the trade. When you have that's why you have things like a stop loss, you have a place of entry, and the most important is a target. Where do you think price will get to? Have that beforehand, and don't set unrealistic targets because price won't get there. Set realistic targets. How is it realistic? What time frame are you trading on? First of all, the level that you're looking at should be on the same time frame. You shouldn't enter a 5-minute trade and targeting a 1 hour area. It doesn't make sense, because the 5 minute is subject to the 5 minute. There's a lot of volatility in the 5 minute. So to bring everything together, those are the three jobs of a trader: is to become profitable, reduce losses, and maximize your wins. Those are the three main jobs as a trader. And the point that started this conversation, I went longer than I expected. It was only meant to be 5 minutes, but I ended up reminding myself of things. So it's now about almost 12 minutes now. But the point of what caused this conversation is, how do you stop a losing trade? And we said that shouldn't exist. A trade that loses is not a losing trade. It is a cost of doing business. Someone says, why? I'm not sure what you're asking why about, but why is a losing trade not a losing trade? It's not a losing trade because if you look at it from a perspective, oh, you said hi, okay, nice to meet you. But why we're redefining losing trades as something else is because when you lose a trade, or let me give another example. If you go to a shop and you buy a sweet because you want the sweet and you eat the sweet and you enjoy the sweet, did you lose your money? No, you don't think of it as losing your money. When you go to the bank, oh, that's the bad example. When you go to a cinema and you buy a ticket to watch a film and you enjoy the film, you watch the film, did you lose money? No, you paid for something. You got something out of it. You paid. It was an investment. When a business hires a staff and they pay them $20,000 a year, $40,000 a year, and they're good staff, they don't see it as a loss. They see it as a plus. They see it as a gain, as a good thing. Why? Because it's the cost of doing business. The cost of going to the cinema, cost of going to the supermarket and getting something you like to eat and buying it and enjoying it. That's just the cost of shopping in the shop you're shopping in. That's the cost of watching a film. It's part of the process. Are you from England? Yes, I am. I'm from London. I've got a blocked nose though, so I may sound a bit off. So yeah, I don't want to get into a long spiral. I want to end the stream in the next 2 minutes. Just for those that are new here, this is not my normal setup. I don't normally do a sit down and a talk too. It's not really what I like to do. I like to show you the markets. And for the third time and last time, my laptop is still dead and it's still not turning on. And it's charging, as you can see, but this laptop doesn't really like to. I just plugged it in even further because it was loose, but it still doesn't like to turn on. Anyway, final 30 seconds of the stream. We're just explaining why losing trade is redefined is because elsewhere in our life, we don't see it as loss. We don't see it as a loss when we go shopping. We don't see it as a loss as a business owner hiring staff. It's not a loss. It's the cost of doing business. But only as a trader is a cost of doing business if it's within your control. Your control is, all you can control is what you can control. You cannot control anything outside of what you can control. So what is some of the things you can control? You can control you. So as a trader, you can control your personal emotions. You can control your thoughts, believe it or not. You can control what you see to an extent. You can control everything about yourself. Meaning that as traders, we only control us. We control us. So you master your emotions, you master yourself, and you'll start to see not only those traders' losses will reduce, but those profits will increase and you can become a better trader. So thank you guys for watching. I know there's a lot of new faces. This normally happens when we do this vertical stream. Nevertheless, we might do more of them in the future, but that's not my goal to reach as many people as possible. I simply just make these videos as a documentary for my future self and for some people in the future that I will be mentoring. They will have this as a kind of tool to help them along the journey. So I'm doing this also 1,000 days of trading. Why? Because I want to show you guys that it's possible to not only become profitable in this industry, because I've seen it, I've had it, and though I lost everything, I can rebuild, and I want to show you how to rebuild this from scratch. I'm also relearning different strategies, learning different skills. So stay up to date, join the streams. We're live every day, every weekday that is, and you will learn something 100%. That's at least the one thing I can guarantee you. I just seen a lot of a wave of people come in, so I'm just going to explain what this stream was about again, which was redefining losing trades. We redefine losing trades as non-existent. We don't even believe we can lose trades. Not that we can't lose money, but we don't see it as losing money. We see it as the cost of trading. We see it as the cost of doing business. The reason why we see it as the cost of doing business is because whenever you pay money for something good, then you don't see it as you losing money. If you go to the shops, you buy, you're shopping, you don't see yourself as losing money. You see it as the cost of shopping in that shop, or rather the purchase of the things you bought. As a business owner, when you hire staff, you don't see those staff as a loss. You see them as a cost of doing business. It's an expense. That's why you have write-offs, tax write-offs. It's an expense. So similarly, as traders, we can also see when we lose a trade, when our trade is red, we can see that as the cost of being a trader. Now, the only way that can remain a cost, we said, is by the fact that you have the contingency, that you are a master of your emotions. Once you master your emotions, every loss becomes a cost to do business. Isn't that great? Imagine you seeing red and you're like, that's fine. It can happen. It's possible. You just need to master your emotions. Maybe another time we'll talk about how to master your emotions. Right now, I do want to end the stream. I only keep re-explaining myself because I keep seeing people come in and I don't want those people to not, come in confused. So that's why I keep re-explaining myself. But that's hopefully the last time I'm about to end the stream and wrap it up. Thank you everyone for tuning in, for liking, subscribing. And again, we're live every day. We'll be on the markets. This is not the normal setup. I did say this will be the last time, but one more time, I'm gonna show you. My laptop just doesn't want to work, doesn't want to turn on, and therefore we are on this setup like this. So we'll be live again tomorrow. We'll be trading tomorrow properly. This was the bank holiday yesterday. Monday was bank holiday, so I didn't trade. I wanted to see the markets, especially after the news released last week. We've now been live for 18 minutes, and I plan to do a 5-minute stream. So I'm going to end now. Thank you guys for tuning in for the last time, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. It's been your boy CJ. Peace.